Howdy folks, I'm whimsical Western Pine Elephant, wildly waving to weird wombats.
I'm Amber.
And here are more weird wombats for us to wave to, but Amber, why are they so weird?
Because they're friends with you.
Oh, now I understand. That makes perfect sense. Because they are friends with me. We're all a bunch of weirdos here.
Mm-hmm.
And folks, we have a live stream coming up on Friday. For more information, please see the end of the video. Let's get started. Oh boy, do we have a treat for you today. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a jerk for snapping at my husband after he told me to, quote, put more effort into my appearance? So the title basically says it. I am a 29-year-old female and my husband is a 31-year-old male, and he has been unemployed for over a year now. He was laid off during some restructuring and said that he wanted to take a short break before looking for a new job. That short break has turned into 14 months of him mostly sitting around on the couch playing video games. Meanwhile, I work full-time in a demanding job. I'm a project manager in tech. I pay all of the bills. I do most of the housework. He might do a load of dishes once a week. And I try to keep our lives from completely falling apart. I've tried gently talking to him about applying for a job or at least picking up some of the chores, but every conversation turns to him getting defensive, saying that he's going through a rough patch or he'll get around to it. Well, anyways, yesterday I come home from work exhausted. I hadn't even taken my makeup off yet, and I was just heating up some leftovers for dinner when he looked at me and said, you should really start putting more effort into your appearance. Like, dress up a bit. You've kind of let yourself go. I blinked. This is a man who wears the same 3 food-stained t-shirts on rotation. He hasn't shaved in months, and honestly, I don't remember the last time he wore pants that weren't sweatpants. I just lost it. I told him that if he wants somebody who looks like they just walked off the red carpet, that maybe he should start acting like someone who isn't an unemployed slob living off his wife. He got really quiet and later said that I was out of line and hurtful. Now I'm feeling guilty. I don't want to be cruel, but I've been holding everything together and it feels like a slap in the face for him to criticize me when I'm already stretched thin. Am I the jerk? Alright folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. And honestly, OP, what does he bring to this relationship? Like, I think it might be divorce time.
Yeah.
Because there's only one person carrying this whole relationship. OP is earning the money. OP is doing the housework. OP is like doing literally everything to keep them afloat. And instead of being concerned that OP is shouldering all this burden and, worried about her, he's just over here like, you could be dressing up for me.
The thing is, like, whenever we read a story like this, it makes me wonder if these people even love their partners. Like, if he loves OP, right? It's clear that OP loves him because no one would put up with this kind of nonsense, right?
And I think the answer is no. He loves what she does for him.
Yeah. And, I mean, it's clear, like what you said. He loves what OP does for him. OP loves him. And that creates this wild imbalance because the thing is, like, I don't know how you could sit and watch your partner struggle, suffer, go through such a hard time and be like, I'm fine with this. I'm fine with watching you struggle. That's not a partnership, right?
And not only am I fine with you struggling, I need you to do more for me.
So I just think that OP should really seriously examine this relationship. I don't think that he is being a very good partner. And maybe there's something else going on, like depression or some other medical reason for this. And in those cases, that's still not OP's responsibility to fix.
Right, he has to do the work there, but also it doesn't excuse him the way he's treating OP.
Yeah. Depression doesn't make you a complete jerk who's going to insults your wife and tells her that she needs to start looking pretty for you or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
Well, that's the thing. There's a huge sense of entitlement that doesn't usually go with depression.
Yeah. And again, like if there is something wrong here, then he needs to go to a therapist. He needed to go to a therapist 12 months ago, right? Like he agreed to, look for a job after a couple of months. And she was fine with giving him a break. I mean, who doesn't want to sit around and not work all day, right? I mean, or not go to a job or something like that, right?
But it's not at the expense of your partner.
Yeah, not at the expense of your partner. This is just completely out of line, and if he really did love OP, then he would make an effort to lighten her burden, but he just doesn't seem to want to do that. He just instead would rather watch her suffer and try to put more effort into the relationship while he puts no effort into the relationship. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And OP replies to a main comment thread. Thank you so much to everyone who took the time to comment. I never really expected to get this kind of attention, but this has been so nice. I really appreciated the outside perspectives. You all have given me a lot to think about. I'm definitely going to reflect on what's been said and consider the next steps carefully. It helps just to feel heard, so thank you again. And Paul Rudd's Drag Race says, not the jerk, I know we're only seeing a snapshot of your marriage, but I would think long and hard about what you would like out of life going forward, and whether or not your spouse fits into that. It doesn't seem like he's trying. Yes, depression is a thing, and maybe he has it, maybe he doesn't. I'm not qualified to diagnose him anyways. If he might be, he needs to seek help with that because that dynamic isn't sustainable. Right now, it sounds like you have a dependent child / house goblin more than you have a partner. I'm sure that many of us would like to be able to simply not work while someone else pays the bills and handles most or all of the domestic labor. But it shouldn't come at the expense of the other person. Oh, and one thing that this kind of triggered something that I wanted to talk about is like people who are kept, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with someone who wants to have a relationship where one of the people is kept or they stay home. But even there's like some decision about how the chores and stuff like that are divided up. And usually the person who's spending the time at home most of the time is the one who's going to be doing a majority of the chores, right? And so he should be doing like the cooking, the cleaning, any of these other domestic type duties. And the fact that he isn't doing any of this is really problematic.
Right, well, he seems to be bringing literally nothing to the relationship, just making things harder for OP.
Yeah.
And like, if your life would be better off single, then like, it's really time to evaluate what this relationship is doing for you and whether it's worthwhile.
And Xenia Pearl says the only thing that your husband should be critiquing is his own resume after 14 months of being a professional couch potato. Maybe if he traded his sweatpants for pants with a zipper for once, he would remember what effort looks like. Here's a thought. Next time he opens his mouth about your appearance, hand him a mop and say, "Mash my energy." Either that, or start charging him rent for occupying your patience. Not the jerk, honey. And Organized Chaos says, chef's kiss about occupying your patience. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for throwing my boyfriend's clothes in the trash? I'm a 21-year-old female, and I live with my boyfriend, a 23-year-old male, and honestly, I'm at my wit's end. This guy just leaves his clothes everywhere. I'm not talking about once or twice. It's literally every day. Not in the hamper, not in a chair, just thrown around like he thinks I have a magic cleaning fairy. The floor, the couch, the kitchen chair, you name it. I've even found shirts under the table like he just drops them and then walks away. I've told him a million times. Calm at first, and then getting more frustrated. I've even warned him straight up, if you leave your stuff laying around again, I'm going to throw it out. And he said, okay, but then nothing changes and he keeps doing the same nonsense. Well, so a few days ago, I see some underwear just sitting on the couch's armrest, like it's some kind of decoration or something. I just pick it up and I toss it in the trash. No hesitation. I felt like the most satisfying thing ever. Later, of course, he freaks out when he can't find them. Starts saying that I'm disrespecting his stuff, wasting money, acting like a child. Like really, I'm the one who's been picking up after you for months, and he says that I'm the problem now. I'm not his maid or his mom. I asked him to clean up, I warned him, and then I did exactly what I said I was going to do. So am I the jerk for finally losing it and throwing out his clothes? Alright folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk, although I think a better step would have been to throw the whole boyfriend out. I generally don't agree with like throwing out your partner's belongings, but the fact of the matter is he was warned. It was a single pair of underwear. It wasn't some clothing item with, sentimental value. It wasn't his whole wardrobe. And, OP was at kind of her wit's end with the situation. So
I mean, that's hard to judge whether those underwear were sentimental or not.
I'm guessing if I had to venture a guess.
with this being a single pair of underwear and OP warning him ahead of time that this was going to happen, I don't have as much of a problem with this as I could possibly have. If it had been like she went through the whole house, bagged up everything of his, and threw it to the curb, I would have a little bit more of a problem just because of the scale. But this was more like a warning shot more than anything. Usually underwear come in large packs, and it's not like losing one pair of underwear, unless that's the only pair he has, which that's a horrifying thought, isn't going to really do much to him, right?
Right.
So, but I think that OP really, instead of getting rid of the underwear, should have gotten rid of him, like you said. Like this,
Yeah.
this seems like what is he doing in this relationship for OP?
Right. And does he even care about her?
Yeah.
Like, he has so little regard for her that he's just throwing his clothes willy-nilly and not caring what kind of a burden that's placing on OP. He can't be bothered to put his clothes in the hamper. It's not that much more effort. Like, I understand not having a lot of effort and being tired, but seriously, like, just a few feet. Like, it's your house too.
Yeah. Well, and this is kind of similar to the last story where it just does not feel like he actually loves their partner, because how can you sit there and watch your partner get mad about something that you could so easily remedy? That's your responsibility on top of that.
Right. And know that you're actively making their life harder.
Like, you shouldn't be going out of your way to make your partner's life harder, right? If you are, then you're not being a good partner. You're being a bad, terrible partner. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Specialist Pipe 7921 says, not the jerk, tell him that you're living separately until he learns how to clean up after himself. I can understand sometimes a sock next to a shoe rack or maybe a jacket dropped on the chair somewhere, but underwear, I'm assuming used, on the couch? Nuh-uh, not in my house. And Catsman 1031 says, how does that even happen? And Specialist Pipe 7921 says, right? Like he's getting naked in the living room before going into the bathroom or shower? What's the logic here? Regardless, he's acting like a complete child. I was wondering about that as well, right? Like, how does a pair of underwear just get onto the couch? Like, did he just like, I'm gonna naked couch play video games? I don't even know. I don't want to know. And OP replies, that's exactly what he does. He walks around naked too, sometimes. And Specialist Pipe 7921 says, well, that's a choice, all right. I hope you have curtains, but still, can he put the clothes in the hamper before he prances around naked? It's not that hard. And OP replies, I know. I guess some people just have weird habits like that, but no more. And Practical Reading 958 says, not the jerk, except that you have let this go on for too long. I would not pick up other dirty clothes, unless they are very ill or too young to pick up after themselves. I'll discuss it one time. I'll let them know that I will not live with an adult who doesn't pick up after themselves, and then I'll just glaze my eyes, and then I'll go about my business. If they don't start making a true, easy scene effort within a week, I'll pack up their stuff and leave it outside, or I'll move myself out, depending on who is on the lease/owns the house. And OP replies, you're right, I've been too soft. I will be more direct from now on. I'm going to move out. Well, good for OP. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, I'm a 31-year-old male and my girlfriend, a 29-year-old female, won't wear tank tops even though I love them. How can I explain that she would look great in them? Well, like the title explains, I love tank tops on women. Not anything ridiculous, just that they're the best shirt for women to wear. I've been dating my girlfriend for about a year, and I noticed that she never wears tank tops. Well, about a month ago, I was shopping and I bought her a couple of tank tops that were her size. When I gave them to her, she smiled and said that she liked them, but then she never wore them after that. Last week, I brought it up and she said that she doesn't like wearing clothes like that. I figured that it was a modesty thing or something like that, but she won't even wear them when it's just the two of us. I'm not trying to make this a thing, but I've already clearly crossed that line. I love her and I'm ready to drop this whole thing and give away the two shirts that I got her, but I would like to try one more time, as I know that she would look amazing, and having her wear these for me would drive me up a wall. How can I do this without upsetting her? Or is this gone too far and I should just drop it now? All right, folks, what do you think?
I mean, I think it's probably Opie's best bet is just to drop it now. He's offered them to her, and she's made it clear that she's not comfortable with them. And it doesn't necessarily matter what her reasons are for not being comfortable
Yeah,
with
yeah.
them. The key thing is that she isn't.
Yeah, I mean, she's already said that she's not comfortable, and certainly, like, I can understand the disappointment, but, you know, he can always buy her other clothes and maybe find clothes that she likes, right? And that they both like and she finds comfortable, right? There isn't anything wrong with her disliking those shirts, and there isn't anything wrong with him wanting her to wear shirts that he likes, but he can't force her to wear those shirts, right? And he also, it's not great to want to, push your partner to wear things that they don't want to wear too, right? So, again, like there's always times that they can sit down, they can discuss what kind of clothes that she might like, and find something that maybe they both find, aesthetically pleasing and that she's comfortable with, right?
Right. And Opie's kind of making assumptions here. Like, it might not be a modesty thing at all. It could be, for example, a sensory thing.
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't like the feel of like tank top straps digging into them.
Yeah.
And so, I I know that he really likes the idea of it, but it may just not be her jam for a variety of reasons, and there may not be a way to change that. Like, if she doesn't like the feel of them, then it doesn't matter if she's in public or private, that's not going to change the sensation.
Yeah. Well, and this one's difficult because, like, he doesn't want to come across, of course, as controlling or anything like that, or
Mm-hmm.
try to force her into wearing them. But I mean, personally, I would be curious about her reasons for it. Not that I would think that it would be something that she should change, right? Because there could be a lot of different reasons. And if he was like, hey, I really want to get you clothes that you like. What's about tank tops that you dislike, so that if I'm looking for clothes, I can make sure to avoid clothes that wouldn't want to wear or something like that, right? And I think bringing it up gently like that, and but seriously, I'm not saying this is a manipulative way, but trying to
Yeah.
find out sincerely about what she doesn't like about tank tops, so that OP can avoid buying clothes that fit, that thing, then that might help kind of push them forward in communication and discussing this.
Well, that's I think you actually bring up something really important, is that it's perfectly fine if OP wants to have an open and honest conversation with her about her feelings on tank tops, but his end goal should just be understanding and not
Hmm.
trying to convince her. Like, that's the place where I think he's going wrong,
Yeah.
is that he has this objective in his mind that he wants to change her mind.
Yeah.
And if he can step back and, instead of trying to change her mind, just go into it with an open mind and try to understand her better,
Yeah.
I think there's room for that. I think that is perfectly fine and healthy. But I think he also has to be willing, either if she's like, I just can't do this, to just let it go.
Well, exactly. And I think like that's the big difference here, is that you said it exactly, is this should be more of an understanding thing. It shouldn't be, how can I manipulate her into wearing what I want her to wear, right? The two very different things. One's not such a good thing, right? But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Well, because like, and I mean, this is kind of on a little bit of an aside here, because like when you didn't want to wear dresses,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to get you clothes that I thought you would like, because there were things that you didn't like about dresses. So I bought clothes that made you comfortable, that maybe I liked some of the aspects of them, and that also they wouldn't make you uncomfortable too,
Right, yeah, rompers, like, because they had the shorts instead of the
Hmm.
skirt bottom, and that was more. They had a kind of similar aesthetic, but were more comfortable.
Yeah. And so I didn't want to like force, you to wear like dresses because you were uncomfortable with wearing them, but I wanted, I like the aesthetic of like flowy clothes and stuff like that. I mean, I even like the aesthetic of flowy clothes for men too, but there aren't any flowy clothes for men.
Yeah, I mean, you just need to be a vampire lord, like a Victorian vampire lord.
Yeah. But folks, let's see what the Wheel of Judgment has to say. Wheel of Judgment, turn, turn, turn. Tell us the judgment that OP's earned. A centrifuge? I don't know if it's quite that bad.
Yeah, I know. Like, if OP wasn't pushing the narrative of like, how do I change her mind, I would have said no jerks.
Yeah.
But because he wants to change her mind, that pushes him into jerk territory. But it's like, he's willing to let this go, hopefully. So like, it's only a little jerk territory. It's not like he's like, I'm going to force her to wear tank tops if that's the last thing I do. That might be pushing towards centrifuge territory.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the wheels on a power trip again.
Yeah. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
What's a zombie's favorite topping?
Oh, I would say probably eyeballs.
Gravy.
Oh, gravy. I see.
And in an unrelated note, it is nothing to fear day. I mean, I guess zombies are something you could fear, but you can't fear them today.
Yes, so make sure to fear the existential dread of nothing. That's a lot. That's a lot.
I think that's not what this day was meant to be. Oh no, Brian is ruining this.
And I have Earl Grey. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy, terrific Tuesday, spelled T-W-O. I almost forgot what day of the week it is. Oh, and folks, there's a live stream coming up on Friday. For more information, please see this chart right here. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it on how to be a good partner.
To be a good partner, it's important to pay attention to your partner's wants and needs and to do something to try and accommodate that and not just pile all the work on them so you can just sit around playing video games all day.
But thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye!